evening, everyone. My name is Kirsten Dicioco, and I am a second-year psychology major with an emphasis in neuroscience. I am currently serving as your Director of Public Relations, and I am now running to become your Vice Chairperson internal for the upcoming 2026-2027 school year. I am sure many of you have seen the news or are familiar with the historic Artemis II flyby mission to the moon. Every day of their 10-day mission was able to be viewed from more than 200,000 miles away. And every day we were able to watch as the crew answered questions about their lives in space, shared the experience of working with one another, and the importance of representing humanity. As the crew shared their remarks after landing, there is a quote that has been stuck with me ever since from astronaut Kirsten, who said, "A crew is a group that is in it all the time, no matter what, that is stroking every minute with the same purpose, that is willing to sacrifice silently for each other, that gives grace, that holds accountable." Astronaut Cook learned what it meant to be in a crew from a 10-day trip to the moon, while I learned that from the past year as an executive board member of AB Samahan. You're probably sitting there thinking about how a Filipino club could compare to a literal space mission to the moon, but I tell you that there is an undeniable connection between the two, through the display of what humans are capable of when they trust one another completely. To me, that is the goal of a vice chairperson internal, to be able to nourish, build, and protect this trust between members of the general body and executive board. The role of PR is not one many people recognize to have constant work, which is why I believe that my predecessors have echoed the same message of being wary of the stress that comes with it, from trying to maintain the balance between personal, academic, and social life. Oftentimes, that pressure got to me from feeling overwhelmed by the amount of work left for me to do on my own without any breaks. What stuck to me, however, was how this past executive board uplifted me in every way possible, without me having to ever really say anything. Within weeks, almost every auxiliary and committee had created their own media teams, in addition to the one I had the shared responsibility of leading, to create their own graphics so that the weight could be lifted from my shoulders, even if it was just for a little bit. The ability to recognize and address issues like this is what made me understand what it meant to be in a crew. As your prospective vice chairperson internal, I look forward to uphold the spirit of trust and reliability in our community through planning and organizing retreats, where our executive board members feel seen as humans, not just figures of authority. I believe that the strength of the upcoming e-board is not just built in the ability to carry out our constitutional duties, but in the moments of honesty and vulnerability and effort to truly know and understand one another. Although not everyone's experience will ever be perfect, I still hope to transform isolation into companionship so that no one has to walk alone in their journey here in AB Samahan and beyond. We, as an executive board and the general body, should be reminded that we are not just representatives of an organization, but of an entire community bonded through our culture and the passion to share it with the world around us. Furthermore, I look to strengthen the connectivity and interdependence of the upcoming e-board with a board buddy system that allows us to continue to become more invested in one another, not just in our duties of being board members, but as friends and individuals. In this way, we can carry out our visions and navigate the challenges of the upcoming year together, holding each other accountable with care, not pressure. Something I have watched e-board struggle with is speaking up when conflict or an obstacle arises. And oftentimes what goes unsaid is the very thing that harms the relationships we spend so much time fostering. I understand that it's intimidating and uncomfortable to hold these serious talks with each other, especially about our work, when we have our personal and academic lives to worry about too. But if there's anything that I've learned from being in a crew, it's the fact that trust is not just built in the easy moments, but strengthened during the difficult ones. I want to focus on being able to create a space where those hard conversations are not avoided, but encouraged and supported. Whether it's through one-on-one conversations, conflict mediation, or being a figure that our board can come to without fear of judgment, I want to ensure that the connections and conversations held are substantial and authentic. At the end of the day, our ability to serve our community lies first, and the ability to serve one another and our needs. If we are grounded and supported as individuals, what we achieve as a collective in our events, outreach, and advocacy will naturally reflect our strength and success as an executive board and community. AB Samahan was built off the revolutionary ideals of our namesake, continuing to promote unity, courage, and collective action. Those ideals begin with us, within the executive board, and how we communicate, uplift, and hold each other accountable with care. Just like a crew, this role for me is not about leading alone, but rather growing and moving forward together through building trust, honesty, and empathy for one another, along with our shared commitment for something greater than ourselves.